glad to see you. I know if you're like us, you've been in the house for at least a week, 2 weeks, some of you maybe 3. And by now you're probably getting a little stir crazy. I know I am. And so here we are in the kitchen, but this time instead of the culinary kitchen at the Epic, we're at my house. And I happen to have kids home, and maybe you do too. So I decided that we're gonna make something in the kitchen, and I'm gonna let them do some of their favorite things. So to start off, I've got my middle child, Garrett Graff, and his lovely girlfriend, Macy Lawson. And we've all kind of been isolating together. So they are going to do one of their favorite recipes, and I'm just gonna kind of be here and watch just like you kids can do together.
Okay, so one of my favorite things to snack on is fried pickles. One of the best things out there for appetizers. Great for sporting events, but just great for hanging out in the house trapped like we all are. So one of the things that is difficult with fried pickles is you gotta have to get messy with it, and there's oil everywhere and all that kind of stuff. But what I want to do is I want to kind of simplify that and try to make it a little bit healthier by we're going to oven bake them. And so what we will use our panko breadcrumbs as the crust of it. We will use an egg batter and dredge it through. And then we will use a mixture of spices that we'll mix into the panko breadcrumbs to kind of season it up just a little bit. To start this off, first off, make sure you have your oven, go ahead and get it preheating to 500 degrees. And then after that, you know what you gotta do, you gotta wash your hands. Okay, so we're gonna take a second, we're gonna wash our hands, and then we're gonna get this thing set up and get ready to start cooking. Okay, all right, hands are nice and washed up, we're ready to roll now. Okay, so first thing that we want to do is we want to get these pickles out of the jar and start drying them. If you try to dredge them through everything right now, it'll be sloppy, and all of the batter and everything will just slide right off. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go and lay out some paper towels here so that then we can place these pickles that we're wanting out and let them start to dry. While I'm doing this, Macy is going to start getting our eggs, crack them open in the bowl, and get them nice and mixed up for our dredge. As far as pickles go, obviously it's total preference. I went with the zesty dill because it sounded fantastic. So we'll see how that goes. Pat them down a little bit on each side, and we'll let them sit just for a second once I get this part. And then we'll go ahead and lay some paper towels over the top as well, just to help coat up whatever's left. Now, here's to the seasoning part. You know, I would say this, you know, I like to over season things. I know that for a fact. I like spice, so depending on how much spice level you like, you can adjust as you go. So I'm not going to have a specific measurement. I will say this, an easy thing to do is get you some salt, pepper, maybe some garlic, cayenne, whatever, and just do a teaspoon of each to start. If you want more, you can add to it, but this is kind of how, that's a good starting point for you. So I'm just going to kind of sprinkle some in over the top. Okay, get a little bit, that's seasoned salt right there. I'm going to go with a little bit of garlic powder here. Just get a little bit on the top there. Okay, we got some cayenne, got to get you a little kick in there. Nice little bite. Get some of that in there. Maybe a little bit more, you know. Macy's over here getting a little concerned. That's okay. Get a little parsley. Why? Well, I like it because it adds a little color to everything, and a little bit of a clean flavor, if you will. Add some of that in there.
And because Macy wanted some.
Also because Macy requested it, so what she says goes. And then we'll just do a little bit of pepper right there on top of that. Okay, so once we get to that point, now I'm just going to mix it up nice and lightly. If I feel like I need to add something else, I can certainly do so at this point. So now that that is good and mixed up, we are about ready for the next step of this process. Through the egg wash, Once you're done with that, you're going to move it straight over into the breadcrumbs, okay? Once you're here, you're going to put it down, maybe turn it once or twice, and then sprinkle some over the top. And then, to be honest with you, we're going to play with it. If we feel like we need to repeat that process again because it's not quite sticking good enough or whatever, then we'll do that. But we're going to start with just one round and see how well that goes. So Mace, let's go ahead and do this right here. So you can dredge that through here, and you can use that if you would like to. There you go. There you go, good. So from this point, then we can get some of that and sprinkle it over the top, just like that. Okay, we've picked that up here. Probably, what do you think, Mace? You think that's good, or should we dredge it one more time?
Maybe one more time just to see what it looks like?
Yeah,
okay.
I think so too.
Alright.
So just kind of dredge it one more time through. Make sure you get on all sides here. And then we'll pick that back up, put it back in here, and at this point I'm just going to kind of ladle it right over the top here. Get a nice even coat. Kind of bury it in there for a second. Okay, and then we can pick that up, place it nice and neat. That's perfect.
Yeah, I think that looks
okay. So this is where we're at. We've got our pickles nice and done here. We've got them evenly spread out so that as they're cooking, there's plenty of space for heat and air to get around them and cook everything nice and thoroughly so we can get a nice crisp all the way around. Now, we're using a metal rack here. That way air can get underneath it, heat can get underneath it and actually crisp the bottom rather than having to turn them constantly and part of it gets kind of soggy and all that kind of stuff. So we're going to go ahead and get this thing in the oven here. Once again, it's at 500 degrees. Okay, so now we're going to move over to the oven. On our oven, we have a convection setting. That will allow air to circulate a little bit better. If you don't have that, that's totally fine. Just leave it on bake and everything will work out great. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over here to the oven. Got this right here. All right, we're going to slide that on the middle tray. Nice and even, right in the middle of the oven. Go ahead and close that up so we don't lose too much heat here. And then I'm going to go ahead and set a timer for, I'm going to go about 20, I'm going to set one somewhere right in the middle, about 23 minutes, and let that roll. 20 to 25 minutes is about what we're looking for. I like to go right in the middle, keep my eye on it, and we'll go from perfectly. So let's go ahead and get these things out of here. Okay, pull them out. Oh yeah, those are looking really nice. Really nice here. So here we go. Let's see what we think, huh? All right.
That's good. It's got a good crunch to it.
Oh. That is dynamite right there. That is good.
Yeah, really good.
I love crispiness on the outside. Nice and salty on the inside. The cayenne comes through both in the ranch as well as in the seasoning. Just a little kick there. I think it's unbelievable.
Thanks so much. Y'all stay safe, stay well, stay isolated, and keep washing your hands. And look forward to seeing you again at the Epic when we get back to doing classes.